Walgreens became the latest big employer to end a company-sponsored health insurance program. Instead, the nation's largest drugstore chain will pay a stipend to 120,000 current workers and have them look for another plan through a private health insurance exchange, where they can choose from as many as 25 different plans. The idea is to regain control of healthcare outlays and avoid annual premium increases.
So joining us now to talk more about big companies making changes to their company-sponsored insurance plans for their active workers is Helen Darling. She's president at the National Business Group on Health. Welcome, Helen. Nice to have you here.
Thank you very much.
I would assume if a large company like Walgreens makes a move like this, that a number of other companies are going to be watching very carefully and probably will decide to do the same.
Well, certainly a lot of employers are looking at private exchanges now. In fact, in a recent survey that we just released, we found that 30% of employers were thinking about that possibility in 2015, not this upcoming year, but the year after. But we do have some number who will be doing the same thing in 2014.
Helen, this feels to me like the switch that took place and is still taking place in many companies away from what are called defined benefit pension plans and towards defined contribution plans, away from standard pensions and towards something that puts the investing responsibility in the hands of the employee. Have I got that right? And are we at the dawn of an era where companies are going to cease providing packaged plans from insurers to their employees?
Well, I think you're right in that we're directionally headed away from employers saying, kind of, no matter what it costs, we're going to cover all of your health benefits, to a model in which they're saying, we're going to give you some choices, including some in which there's substantial cost sharing, and you're going to have to make more choices, to what we're seeing a little bit with the movement to private exchanges, and for some populations to the public exchanges, the idea that the individual, the employee or the retiree or whoever it is going to have some contribution, but he or she will have to decide how rich a plan they want, what details they want to include, and how much are they willing to pay of their own money.
You know, not to be cynical, but there are a lot of people who think that if this is good for the employer, how can it possibly be good for the employee? Can it be good for both?
Well, it can, and actually all these things we're talking about now still reflects a commitment that most employers have for providing good health benefits for their employees, because it's important to recruit and retain talent. And so they're definitely going to continue, most of them, to provide these benefits, especially if they're in a highly competitive industry where it's very hard to attract and hold talent. That said, as costs have risen, questions have been raised about how much you give to workers in the form of health benefits or cash wages, and some balance. So maybe the cash wages can grow faster, and they may not have the health benefits contribution grow as fast as it might have in the past. So a lot of people would prefer to have more money and be able to make more choices and not be stuck necessarily paying for a super rich plan that maybe they don't take advantage of and they don't want to pay for it.
Let me ask a question where the answer may in fact be obvious. As I understood the Affordable Care Act, it basically sets up an employer mandate. In other words, employers that have more than 50 employees have to provide some form of health care coverage. Would this kind of stipend qualify under the Affordable Care Act for compliance with that part of the law?
Well, as long as the employer is facilitating their access to a good plan that meets the qualified health plan requirements and affordability requirements, which are not over the top. There are things like bronze plans and things like that in the exchange. So there can be a fair amount of cost sharing of a plan that it's basically kind of a reasonable package. As long as that's what's offered, then they are compliant with the Affordable Care Act.
Helen, thank you so much. Complicated subject. You made it seem very simple. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Helen Darling, president at the National Business Group on Health.